Anti-Hindu hatred or hinduphobia is the hostility and discrimination against Hindus or Hindu culture. This happens on a spectrum and includes a bunch of words such as hindutvadi, heathen, bhakt, kafir, etc. Something that was highlighted was that bhakt means devotee, but anti-Hindu people use it as a label to demonize and delegitimize Hindus or the causes they advocate for. So now that you have the definition of what anti-Hindu means, let's see Pranav try to convince us that he is not against Hindu culture.
Find one anti-Hindu statement in that whole video. I dare you. I fucking dare you.
Every time you go to someone and say, hey, look at me, I'm so awesome, look at me. That kind of degrades your value. People have to come to you and say that you're awesome. People have to come to India and say your culture is awesome, your scientific advancements are awesome. And if we go and say it to them, that's very low value behavior. Once again, the term Vedic has nothing to do with the Vedas. It's part of a bigger problem. What he says provides validation to all these andhbhakts, these blind devotees, and this can easily lead to extremism. And few reason that I used Ralph Griffith's translation was because I wanted a literal translation, and I'll gladly use an Indian translation if it's literal, but sadly every single Indian translation that I've seen is not literal. It very liberally interprets the Vedas and it leads to things like this. We've all heard claims about the benefits of cow urine. Why do people think they can make these outlandish claims and get away with it? They can make claims like this because we allow all kinds of other meaningless bullshit in our daily lives. Our traditions are riddled with pseudo-scientific, superstitious beliefs.
And the string criticism. This video is purely a criticism of how he said sound behaves in temple and how energy is transferred by the gopuram, which is just plain pseudoscience. And I'm not the only one.
So regarding this, I've already debunked Science is Dope's video. And he even admits that I debunked him.
And the video that debunked me has...
So he has no reason to still be criticizing string when he has been proved wrong.
And a lot of people were like, I've not cited any sources. If I say something like, if I drop something it'll fall, do you need me to cite a source for that? Do you need me to cite sources for established facts about how sound behaves?
In a previous video, Pranav clearly says that he cites sources for everything he says.
The primary source itself. Because if you don't, your information is now unreliable. Take a look at this comment. It asks me why they should believe me. I'm not asking you to believe me. I provide all of my sources. For every claim that I make, I provide all the sources in the description. You can take a look at my source and
But now that he has been debunked and proved wrong, he backtracks and says that he doesn't need to provide sources. Where is the integrity and scientific honesty if you choose to omit sources to what you claim are facts? If you can't do something as simple as put the reference to where you got your information, it is known as mosaic plagiarism. I cite all the information I used in my video for two reasons. First is to credit the authors and researchers, and the second reason is because I believe people should hold me accountable to every claim that I make. It allows the viewers to fact check me and see that what I'm providing is truthful content. Science is Dope needs to understand that transparency is important. And if Pranav can't reference, it shows that he either doesn't understand the concepts or he has something to hide. Not to mention that his so-called established facts that he brought to the video were incorrect. He said that a wood panel would reflect sound when wood is a porous sound-absorbing material.
Sounds can reflect off of any reflective surface. It can be any hard and non-porous surface and it's probably reflective, like say this LCD TV screen or this wooden panel.
He said that the idol in the temple prevents reverb when science clearly explains that the material used as a temple rock increases reverberation.
Interestingly enough, the idol in the temple chamber is an irregular object in the room that prevents reverb rather than causing it.
Pranav also says that the human voice will not produce standing waves that musical notes produce, which is once again an incorrect statement.
This is not just any sound, these are musical notes. Musical notes are standing waves that happen on a guitar string or in the air column of a flute. You can never say the same about the human body, especially considering these are not simple musical notes that you hear in a temple.
Now,
But where do I cite sources from for established facts? Wikipedia? If I do, then you have another point of argument in your arsenal. Anyone can edit Wikipedia.
It's so simple. You cite sources from the academic journal, article, or book you used. Take, for instance, some of the information I provided for acoustics, which came from the Handbook of Acoustic Ecology from Simon Fraser University. And that's why my information was correct. And even Wikipedia says Wikipedia is not a reliable source. But Pranav wants to pass off Wikipedia for authenticity. However, since Science is Dope has no idea how to reference or doesn't know what to reference, I have taken the liberty of linking a guide by plagiarism.com on how to cite and what to use as evidence.
And the video that debunked me has cited sources. Somehow that makes it perfect science, and whatever I've said is just half-baked science. That's misleading.
Yes, I am reliable because I cited from universities, academic journals, and reliable sources. And that means people can therefore confirm everything that I said is true. And no, Pranav, you cannot use Wikipedia or Quora to push your narrative.
My videos are political. With the strong views that I have on pseudoscience, it's impossible not to be political. I will naturally make political statements in my videos.
So your Pranav is just again showing that he has an implicit bias because of his political beliefs. It is definitely possible to not be political. Take my video on the science of temples. There was nothing political in my video. I simply proved the scientific facts and research that concluded string was valid.
Them don't even fall under any religion, but if they do, then I don't care about what religion the ideas come from. If you feel they're mostly from Hindu culture, it's probably because I was born into that religion and that culture, and it's the ideas that I've seen around me.
So your Pranav is clearly showing that because of his personal experience, he has a clear predisposition and prejudice of Hindu culture. If Science is Dope were truly objective and ethical, they would not put their personal experiences inside the video and they would just focus on the scientific research. And by doing this, it means Pranav doesn't have to go to Quora and cherry pick an answer that suits his narrative. To conclude this video, I just want to say to Pranav that in his video about Praveen Mohan, you spent more time bullying him by editing his video in a rude way to your thumbnail, and by making fun of the way he speaks, for which you owe Mohan a public, humble apology. Next, in terms of the temples video, you were debunked by me, which you yourself admit. You also owe String a public apology for your false information and slander.